Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the FINNY D Show. I don't really know what I'm going to be talking about. I'll just start rambling today and hope to catch a wave. But I did have something on my mind just before I pressed the record button. And that's like, in Australia, and if you're from somewhere else, I'll try and explain it to the best of my ability. I'm no means a professional in any of, or most of the shit that I talk about. I just like to rant and get shit off my chest and try to, understand things a little better. Things in life, things that confuse me and leave me scratching my head. One of those things is this sort of zero emission policy that Australia is pushing towards. We've gotten a new set of bins. We normally have the rubbish and the recycling, and that's been, how it's been since since my parents were fucking kids. I don't know how long the 2-bin system has been a thing. Probably fucking forever. There's got to be some way you get rid of your trash, whether that be you get rid of it yourself or somebody comes and picks it up. I'm not sure, but they've introduced a new set of bins. Every bin now has a specific set of things that you can put in there, that you have to put in there. The bins now come with sensors as well, which is a little scary. Just the fact that there's sensors in the bin. I'm not sure what they sense. Maybe they sense how full the bin is. I'm not sure, but they're there. They're in the top. Maybe they sense what goes in. Fucking who knows, dude. But one of them's glass, one of them's something else, one of them's scraps, the other one's green waste. And this is how it's going to be. As of March, we're going to have to start really separating our rubbish and being responsible, which is cool. I don't mind doing that. My question is, though, in this country, we're really striving towards being eco-friendly, which is always great. But at the same time, we're pushing the zero emission thing here. But other countries are just full steam ahead with their bullshit and their dumping and their rubbish. And is it like, are we picking up the slack in Australia by doing our part? Is it actually making any difference whatsoever? Is it just more rules because rules are, the government enjoys rules? What is it? What's the point of it all? Because there are cities in India where you go outside and you get soot in your nose and soot in your lungs. It's the equivalent of smoking fucking pack of cigarettes a day, just standing outside, struggling to see your hand in front of you because the smog is so dense. And then you come to a country like Australia where the air is clean. There's fuck all pollution here. Fuck all trash. There's trash, but there's fuck all trash, really. And we're really striving towards just 0, making sure that people will come around and door knock on your house and with pamphlets, with pictures of power boards that have power saving things. Where Mum used to have one when I was younger. It was fucking retarded. The TV would turn off every half an hour. You had to go and turn it back on. It was like that for years. Mum would refuse to get rid of this power board that was behind the TV unit that just switched everything off every half an hour. It was fucking annoying. As soon as my parents broke up back in the day, it was the first thing that I did was just tear that thing out and get rid of it. The rules break down. When there's only one parent in the household, the rules become, a lot less enforced. Especially when Dad's now out of the house and there's no more beatdowns happening. There's no more voices being raised and there's no more fear to be had. The boy becomes the man when the big man leaves the house. And the first thing that kid did me, sorry I'm speaking in a third person like a fucking dickhead, was pull out the power board. That power saving piece of shit board. Finally we can have a movie on and watch it in its entirety without the fucking lamp and the TV and the DVD player turning off like a power out every half an hour. So inconvenient. Yet nothing was done about it for at least 2 years. It was just a fact of life in the lounge room. Shit would just turn off. There was a way to hack it. All you'd have to do is turn the volume up or down once every half an hour, and it would, trip the system like somebody's still active. There's someone still watching. But half an hour is not a long time. It's not a big amount of time. You'd forget. And we would forget constantly. So the shit would just turn off constantly. I can't think of anything else eco-friendly from my childhood at the moment. I mean, I guess Mum would buy, instead of throwing out wipes all the time, she would buy those washable fucking cloths and shit like that. She tried her best to be as eco-friendly, and she still does. But she buys into the companies that sell shampoo that are like thank you shampoo and like look after the earth soap and all that shit. And it's just like how Pride, companies jumped on the Pride bandwagon and and marketed goods towards the LGBT movement just to sell more shit. The eco-friendly zero carbon emission, all the greenhouse gases, all those bullet points that were constantly spouted off on the news and everywhere else when we were younger and even today. These companies just preyed upon people who were just trying to do the right thing, which is, good marketing strategy. But at the same time, I'm looking at my mum with almost, skepticism, because it's fucking obvious what companies are doing. And companies, as they get bigger and bigger, become more careless, or not careless, but their customer base gets broadened, and they don't care as much about looking after the little guy. They just want to push out as much product as they can. And they do that with eco-friendly soaps, and this bottle is made from 99% recycled plastic, and we just have to take their word for it. We're not there at the recycling center. We're not watching how it all goes down. We're just being told by a company that all the shit that they use is recycled and sourced from local ingredients and all the other things they love to whack on the bottle. And they get really, really wacky too. Some of these thank you eco-friendly bottles will have huge paragraphs just sucking up your ass. Thanks to you and your contribution, we've managed to do this and this. We've managed to save this much forest. And if it's true, great, awesome. But the amount of shit, the amount of lies and bullshit that gets, put past us, and we just accept it as gospel, well, most people do, is overwhelming. At the end of the day, you either lay down and surrender, or you start asking questions. And waters do it. There's thank you water. Mount Franklin is more expensive than Coca-Cola. Mount Franklin fucking spring water is more expensive than fucking sugar. Something that's been manufactured and shipped over here costs less than water? What's going on? And it's been like that for a while too. Like, water's expensive now. Bottled water from the supermarket is actually really expensive now. I'm not talking like Voss Fiji water. I'm not talking that shit. What's the other one? Evian. They're expensive. But the cheap ones, or the ones that were cheap, are now expensive too. And then you go to the soft drink spot, and it's like still 99 cents. Still 75 cents for the home brand ones. Like that, the prices of soft drink never changed, but the prices of water have gone, dramatically up. Fucking weird, man. But anyway, these bins, this new initiative that the council and maybe probably everywhere else, I just know that I'm aware of it happening in my area, my council, shire, sorry. Probably already happened everywhere else, I'm not sure, but there's not enough there's not enough nature strip for fucking everyone to put their 4 bins out. It's gonna be pretty chaotic. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna work. I'll have to look into it more. All I know is we have the bins now, and the thing starts in March, and hopefully we tackle some environmental issues. In saying that, though, there's a lot of companies in New South Wales and other states that have no issue polluting water and killing off the fish. And there's been a ton of that's happened in Australia where just, literally hundreds of thousands of fish have just wound up floating down the river dead. And, who answers to that? People fish in the rivers. People eat the fish. And as you get towards, the centre of Australia, people fish to survive. In isolated areas where there's not a lot of, supermarkets and, people can't just freely go and get groceries. They live off the land. Hunters, fishermen, people that eat what the earth has given to them, instead of just going and buying a packet of ribeyes from the supermarket. They actually go and put in their hard yards to get their meat, something that I can't do, and something I can't really comment too much further on because I'm not a hunter and I don't really know that sort of lifestyle. I just hope that it works, whatever they're trying to do, and hope that other countries eventually catch up to whatever we're doing, because we seem to be reducing the amount of coal plants that we have over here in fear that it's destroying our environment. And then China is, doubling theirs, tripling their coal plants. So all the efforts that we make over here just really for nothing when you think about it, because every other country, around the world is stepping up their production of things, is increasing their pollution, and increasing their footprint on the earth. So just a tough thing to get my head around. Something that I did actually put some thought into. The River Ganges in India is just polluted with bodies, and muck, and shit, piss. Slaughterhouses dump their, purging fluids into the water. Companies, big factories up the River Ganges freely dump their byproducts, whatever they're, not using, just gets completely forgotten about and shat out into the river. And people swim in that. Kids swim in it. People wash themselves in it. I can't wrap my head around how they're still healthy, if they are. If there's parasites, or they've for sure done tests on the river to see what the health of it is like. In the 1800s or the Victorian times in England, the River Thames at one point completely stopped flowing due to the amount of shit that people were dumping in it. I think it was called the Great Stink or the Big Stink. It was a call to arms for the leaders of that. At that time, the leaders got together and designed the new sewer system, which is still used today, based off what happened to the River Thames. course, it started flowing again, and it became a lot cleaner, and I think it's pretty clean today. I'm not too sure. But how badly do you have to fuck up a river for it to become so sludgified that it stops flowing? Surely there's a point before that where people are uttering to each other that maybe, perhaps we should dump somewhere else. The river seems to be stinking. The water seems to be black, sludgy, thick, like a syrup. Has such, substance to it that it is no longer flowing. It is just hanging around. Still water. But they, it took them having that incident happen for them to finally get their act together and devise some plans and build something that looked after the cleanliness of the river and, diverted water into different directions and made sure that the flow was constantly happening. It was a problem that the Victorian era people solved, after much polluting. They still came to their senses eventually. You can't say, that for much else. In the Victorian era, they were using radium to, heal their headaches and bloodletting and thinking that sicknesses came from the miasma from the air. Sicknesses were just flowing around and could end up in you almost like a possession. Sicknesses were evil spirits. And if you got an evil spirit, you were locked in your home until you rotted, along with your family, that are in full health, and they're just fearing for their lives when one person gets sick. The Victorian era was a very interesting time to be alive. You weren't alive for long, and there was a lot that could kill you. The doctors could kill you, A doctor could perform just a simple fucking checkup on you, and you could walk out with a missing arm, and you've been bloodlet, you've had leeches on you, you've had maggots between your toes. Just very, very, very strange times. But we're out of that now. We have history to look back on and reminisce about, and we don't want to be there. I don't want to be there, maybe you do. But that time was dark. It feels almost like this time is, apart from all of the conflict and stuff that's happening around the world, we're doing pretty good. People seem to have their shit together in terms of we go and we shit in a toilet. If something gets spilled on the ground in our house, we clean it. We have showers and look after ourselves, make sure that we don't smell like shit when we go to work. We've really, as the human race, gotten our act together. And what's the next step? Are we just going to continue to let countries that, don't have any environmental protection rules, or they say they do and they just ignore them, or they don't follow suit, just keep polluting the atmosphere? Because it doesn't seem fair when everybody else is picking up the slack. We're doing as we've, been told to look after the environment and treat the environment around us, where we live and all that. We've been told to look after our shit, and we do. And it's just frustrating looking at the news or scrolling YouTube and just seeing thousands of smokestacks just blowing out the blackest fucking smoke directly into the sky. If it really is as bad as the news in my country says it is, then that's fucked up. It's fucked up that, the low population here in Australia, we still have to watch out for, making too many emissions. And are we fucking ourselves by doing that? Are we fucking ourselves by taking our coal plants away and lessening our footprint on the earth, because other countries don't seem to give a fuck, and they're full speed ahead, producing and making whatever they're making, and getting ahead as economic superpowers, while Australia is we're just worried about not wasting too much water, not wasting too much gas, making sure that you put glass in one bin and green waste in the other, and chicken bones and scraps in another one. Happy to do that, but surely we have bigger fish to fry. When I'm driving to work, and I've learnt literally every bump and pothole on the way to work off by heart. I used to hit them constantly because it's a fucking minefield. I only work 20 minutes away, and there's at least 6 car killer potholes. If my car was to hit one of those potholes just on the right angle, my car's fucked. Like, not just wheel alignment screwed, my car's fucked. There's such massive potholes. Okay, 2 signs have been put up by the council warning you that, like, up ahead is an asteroid belt, so to speak. But a warning's one thing and a solution's another. A warning is void. It's not a solution when the sign has been there for about a year. You can't just put a fucking sign up telling us our car's about to be destroyed, and then just, how many cars have hit those potholes and suffered huge amounts of damage? Nice cars. Poor Teslas. I see Teslas all the time on the way to work. I don't know what the suspension's like in a Tesla. There's a lot of electronics banging around in there when they hit potholes. That shit must be shaking like a motherfucker. My car shakes. I hit a pothole so hard last year that my fucking phone disconnected from the Bluetooth. It just shook some internals in my car. Fucking disconnected my phone. I wonder if my cruise control doesn't work anymore. I wonder if that has something to do with hitting the potholes. Anyway, there's just bigger problems in our country. I was going to say in the world. There is. But yeah, in my country especially. There's criminal activity everywhere, increasing as more rural towns in Australia become, or the police stations become unmanned. Police only come from the bigger sort of police stations in bigger towns. They don't worry about the smaller towns that are sort of satelliting the bigger towns. So if we have an incident, it takes 20 minutes for police to show up because they're not here. They're somewhere else. That's a problem. My town is not huge, but it's not small either. There's probably 7,000 people. In a town where something goes down, you have to wait 20 minutes. Depending on the crime that was committed, that person's either gone, your car's been stolen and it's gone. You're not getting it back now. Your house has been robbed. Shit out of luck. The police will be here soon. If there's a fight at the pub, who's performing citizen's arrest on a bunch of drunk cunts that decided they want to have a punch on? It's just become less safe due to that. There's still a police station in town, which is bizarre because it's not used. Just have one or fucking 2 like, I don't understand how police are rostered. I'm not even gonna bother to look into it. All I know is they're not here. Recently, there's an incident where a couple of crackheads, I don't know if they know each other, I doubt it, but a couple of crackheads have been wandering around town naked, wielding weapons, various weapons, in a small rural Australian town. It's just unheard of until now. The solution to that is catching up with those people relatively soon, and stopping them. But you can't do that when you've placed a complaint with the police about some commotion happening out the front of your house. Somebody's banging, throwing rocks, whatever they're doing, screaming, lots of crack screaming. When the police have showed up, that person's on the other side of town now. That person's, gone. They don't exist anymore. They may as well have been a ghost. The police may as well have not shown up at all. They're literally just showing up to pat you on the back, make sure that nothing happened to you. It didn't. You stayed inside. You behaved yourself. That person gets away with it to do it again to somebody else, to terrorize somebody else, fuck their night up. And the police will just come and see if there's any glass on the ground, if there's anything outside that, has been destroyed. Nah, all good. Move on. It's crazy, man. I was in a car accident at the start of last year. My dear Honda, my beautiful Honda Civic that I had, it was my first big purchase that I ever made. I saved up the money and I went and bought a Honda Civic 2007, just immaculate. It was owned by a grandma, some old bitch, who looked after the car until she didn't want it anymore. And I bought it from a dealership, and it was just beautiful. I loved that car until I lost it. It had everything I needed. It was reliable. It only shit itself once, and that was probably because I didn't take it in to get it looked at sooner rather than later. So it was probably on me. That Honda was very reliable and very loyal to me. And some irresponsible prick pulled out in front of me when I had the right of way. I was coming down the main road. That person, if they just used their brain and eyes, would have seen that I was coming. But instead they decided that they were going to make the turn, could try and quickly make that turn, but it wasn't quick enough because they were in a fucking truck. And I smashed into the back of them as they were trying to turn and wrote my car off. Broke my heart and fucked me up mentally. The police saw that. They witnessed it. And they pulled up behind me. And I sat in the gutter. I got out of my car, put my hands through my hair and sort of processed what just happened. I hadn't really stopped, to think like my car is being destroyed. I just got out and I sat in the gutter for a second to just breathe. And immediately the police told me to get up. I was not in any danger where I was sitting. The danger just happened. The danger just occurred. I'm now no longer in danger. My car is now being pulled to the side and I'm sitting behind my car. If the car is pulled over in the emergency lane, I'm sitting where my car's passenger door is, essentially. Away from the traffic. Safe now. But I got told to get up. And then the driver of the truck comes running over, and it's someone I know. Not well, and not particularly fond of that person. I just know them because where I live is small, and, and all that shit. The police asked, there was 4 cops in one car, not sure why. They all got out and looked at my car and made sure I was okay. And instead of doing anything else, and I'm not sure if they even have to, I just felt a little bit left. As soon as they came to the conclusion that I was going to be okay, they just got in the car and left me with this man who is actually trying to pin the accident on me. And it would have been great to just have the police there to hear that cunt say this shit because they saw him do it. But now that they're gone, it's my word against his, and he's claiming that I was speeding. He's claiming that, he's just making up a bunch of bullshit on the spot, either to rid himself of guilt, and because at this point now I'm crying, the adrenaline is now gone out of my system. I'm now realizing that I don't have a car to get to work. And sometimes there are other people that rely on my car to get to work also. So that's fucked. That's down the drain. My brain is thinking, I'm thinking to myself, how the fuck am I going to get myself to work? I'm also saying this out loud to him. I'm telling him, my only asset in life is this car, and you've destroyed it. And he's telling me he doesn't give a shit about the car, he just is happy that I'm okay. And I give a shit about the car. I care about the car. I was having a fantastic day up to that point. And it's been about a year since that incident. I've bought another car now. Thankfully, it took me 6 months to save. Somebody's shitty decision cost me a really, really long time. It diverted my plans in life to getting my basic necessity again, which is a car, transport to get myself to work. This person's shitty decision, and he had the audacity at the time to go over to his truck and scrape the paint, scrape my paint off my grey car's paint off the back of his white truck's peg or whatever I've hit, and I bent it literally like a few centimeters, and he had the audacity to be like, hey, well, both of us, haven't gotten out of this unscathed. Like, my truck copped a bit of damage too. It was not even visible. The damage was not visible from a distance. You had to close in on his truck to be like, I guess I can see where somebody's hit it. I guess. So, and then when I was on the phone to my insurance provider, or just before that, he's telling me to change the time when the accident happened to 3 o'clock when it happened at 12, because the truck that he cut me off with is still uninsured and will be uninsured until 3 o'clock that afternoon. He's wanting me to do things for him. He's wanting me to lie to my insurance provider so I can cover his ass when he's the one who literally could have killed me. If I didn't make the right turn at the right time, I was awake, I was alert. If I came home fucked that night or that afternoon, if I came home tired, if I didn't get enough sleep the night before, things could have ended a lot differently. It was because I was alert and completely saw it coming that I swerved and hit the brakes so hard in my car. My fucking mirror shattered. The side of my car just exploded, like the side of the plastics exploded. All come inside the passenger side window, hit me in the side of the face, hit the back seat of my car, hit the back window on the inside of my car. There's all plastic up in there. And my car is just hopping, the wheels being completely fucking bent. Or the wheel shaft, where the wheel sits, has been completely misshapen. So my car is hopping like it's got a huge flat tire. I swerved a little bit into oncoming to try and avoid him, narrowly missing a lady who's just, picked her kids up from fucking school. Well, she's got kids in the front seat and in the back seat. And I make eye contact with this woman who's petrified because this car accident's just happened directly in front of her. Managed to pull my car back into the side of the road I'm driving on. But so many factors were at play that day. And I'm very lucky and very thankful that I didn't sustain any damage whatsoever. Except for the mental, felt numb. I felt numb for days after it. Like emotionally shut off. Which is a really strange feeling. I've never felt that way before. my body was just, it was like my emotions were deaf. I've never had that feeling before, and that was the first time I ever experienced that. It was scary. I absolutely fucking shat my pants. And I couldn't, once I got on the phone with my mum, because, you know, I'm going to call her. It's my first car accident ever. I'm just calling her to let her know that I've been involved in a car accident and that I'm okay. As soon as she answered the phone, I couldn't put words together. I was just a blubbering mess. And I was the same on the phone to my girlfriend as well. And she's on her way. She's just a town away working, and she leaves work early to come and sit with me while the tow truck is going to collect my car. But she's on the phone. She's furious, and I'm telling her just to please don't make a scene. I'm just trying to keep the peace here, and it's uncomfortable. This man is, you know, not giving me my own space, not leaving me alone. He keeps asking me if I'm all right. Yes, I'm okay. Yes. And then at one point, he's like, I have an apprentice in my truck that I need to drop home. I'm like, yeah, good. You know, fuck off. Leave me be now. You've done enough. So he leaves, and I'm stuck there, sitting with my destroyed car, my beautiful car, my first purchase ever, my first big purchase, my adult purchase, is just bent and fucked. And this guy, knowing a little bit about cars, that's as far as I can say. I don't know this guy very well, but he immediately told me that my car was written off, the guy that did it. So I kind of knew early that my car wasn't going to be seeing the light of day again. So I called the insurance provider and explained to the best of my ability the situation, and it went through pretty well. Unfortunately, I only got a payout which was like a third, maybe even a quarter of what I bought my car for, which was always going to happen, but I thought I was going to get a little more than that. They fucked me over completely with the hire car situation. They also said that they would have a hire car because I pay comprehensive. They said that they would have a hire car for me, but I had to drive like an hour and a half to get that car, which I didn't have a problem with. My girlfriend's car, you know, is up and running and fine. Probably not mechanically sound enough at the time to get me down to where I needed to go, but we did it. And I get down to I get a reference number and I get a time to go and pick the car up. Excellent. Even an address. They even gave me the address. So I punched that in the GPS and literally just followed all the way there. And we get there at the exact time. Actually, probably 5 minutes early. I'm excited. I'm going to have a hire car for at least a month, which will, you know, give me enough time to save a bit of money and seek out other options. But it was good. It felt good. We walk in anyway to the reception or the foyer of the hire car place, and I say I'm here. My name's so and so, and I'm here to pick up my hire car at this time. And the blank expression that this woman gave me, I'll never forget. She just stared into my face and said, "I'm sorry, what?" Like I'm a fucking moron. And I handed her the piece of paper and I said, "This is the reference number, and this was the time I was told to come here to pick up my hire car." And this woman tells me that they don't go off reference numbers. She doesn't know what I'm talking about. Like, no idea whatsoever. And she's smiling. She's trying to do the customer service friendly thing, but now I feel like a moron. I've also dragged my girlfriend into the situation where her cars shouldn't be doing hour and a half drives like that, especially on those roads. So I feel like shit because her car could have been fucked up too. We're now in a really densely populated area in Melbourne, hard to get out of, you know, considering we're country people, and that sort of traffic is fucked up. it's just chaotic down there, especially at 4:30 in the afternoon. It's peak hour. People are coming home from work. So I call up the insurance provider. Of course, I get a different person this time, not the person that I did the whole report with. And I put, as soon as I get an answer and I explain my situation, I palmed my phone off to the receptionist to just sort the situation out. This is my name. This is my reference number. This is my, insurance number, blah, 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 blah. This is my car, and this is what happened to my car, and you said that I was supposed to get a hire car. And I handed the phone to the woman, and they had a short exchange with each other, and the phone was hung up, not given back to me, but hung up. And she told me there's nothing that they can do. Their cars are booked out for the next fortnight. So my insurance provider flat out lied to me, made me drive an hour and a half, 3 hours, because of there and back, in the hopes that I'm going to have a form of transportation to get me to work. Thankfully, somebody that I work with that lives in the same town as me saved my ass, because if they didn't, then I would have been shit out of luck. Just small things like that. Things that leave you scratching your head. Unmanned police stations. Potholes that have signs next to them that have been there a year. Lack of barriers on the sides of the road, considering the amount of bush animals that just spill out onto the road during the warmer seasons in Australia. Careless people, not looking out for anyone else except themselves, and then inflicting damage on other people's property, and then worrying about themselves when it comes to the situation maybe not going in their favour completely. Having multiple bins introduced, so you've got to work extra, made to feel guilty if you're not doing your part by keeping your carbon footprint low, even though we've been awarded with these beautiful luxuries in life, like our phones and our big beautiful TVs and saunas and pools and heaters and air conditioning and cars and trucks, things that need power to run, lots of power. Now tech companies are thinking of building nuclear power plants to run their AI systems. Yet, the everyday person that doesn't use much at all, doesn't take up much space in the world, are the ones that are being told to limit their usage, being told to make sure they put the trash in the right spot, make sure they look after their environment, when the very people that are preaching that to the everyday man are complete hypocrites. They don't practice that. They write up the rules, and we have to follow them. I'd be more than happy to follow them without complaint if the other things in our lives, like our disgusting roads and our unmanned police stations, were looked after. Meet us halfway. You could. It's not an impossibility to meet us halfway. There's a lot of good people in this country just fed up with bullshit. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I've done a bit of ranting. At least I ended close to where I started. Can't fault me for that. I did pretty well at sticking on the trajectory. Yes, I changed the subject a little bit, but I'm back to where I started. Anyway, look after yourselves, guys. This has been another slow episode of the FINNY D Show. I'm a little tired, a little spent, but still willing to get some stuff off my chest. I hope you guys look after yourselves. If you're listening, let us know you're listening. Give us a like or something. Let us know you're there. If not, all good. But be sure to tune in next time on the FINNY D Show for some more energizing, exciting, heart-pumping entertainment brought to you by yours truly, Mr. FINNY D. Have a good night, guys. Or afternoon. Or morning. Have a good one. See yous.